Hi guys, this is Jason here. I'm seeing I was just having a chat with a friend and I don't know, I became really excited because there's a lot of negativity right now in the market and I'm seeing just personally for me, I'm seeing a really good opportunity. I'm seeing a lot of really good opportunities in the market. And these don't come along very often. So I just and I never like to give personal advice. Sometimes my family and friends they want to know which stock to buy and I never like to tell them directly because I'm just always afraid that if they buy, that if things go down, if things don't work out, then I just hate the thought of my family getting hurt. So I just want to share with you what I'm thinking and my own plan for myself. And I think that's helpful information. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but I want to share my own plan because I think it's a golden opportunity right now. So, in this video, I just want to share with you which stock I'm talking about, what's going on in the market right now, why there's so much panic and fear. Like, this is 51 days into Trump's election, what's going on, why this stock is down, why the markets are down, and why it's such a golden opportunity and I'll show you exactly what's going on there. I'll also show you exactly at what prices I plan to buy, and if it goes down further, how I'll buy more, and at what price I'll buy more if it goes down further. So my exact plan, if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll see that. And hopefully this will be helpful for you. So I really like this guy's intro, so I want to play it because I feel like it's very much apropos for what's going on right now. So I'm going to play it for a second.
All three major American stock markets have closed down.
Trade risks continue to rattle investors.
It went off a cliff. And in fact, we were actually down over 900 points when it comes to the Dow at one point today.
Millionaires are made during stock market downturns, and the bigger the decline, the bigger the opportunity, especially if we can be greedy when others are fearful. That's the best way to get rich without getting lucky. So in this video, I'll show you everything you need to know about this latest market downturn and which stocks could win big as a result. Your time is valuable, so
Yeah, I really like that intro just because I feel it's exactly aligned with what I want to say. So I want to share with you this other video that I watched that was really, I don't know, I just thought it was cool and I want to share the stock that I want to talk to you guys about. Is Tesla because I've been studying this stock for over 5-6 years now. Have done very well with it. I've been in and out a little bit, but I think it's just presenting such a good opportunity because of what's going on. So listen to this guy, what this guy has to say, because I think he sums it up pretty good.
I'm saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So.
This man is a loser, literally and figuratively. He's too ignorant and stupid to understand that this is going to age like milk. Let me just break a few things down. Tesla is quite literally one of the most innovative companies on the planet right now. And they're an American company, and he's preying on their downfall. Let's think of the things Tesla offers now, and let's see what they're going to be offering in the future. The Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y, the Cybertruck. All of these can be equipped with full self-driving FSD, meaning the cars drive themselves, literally. And they get better each and every day. The more data it takes in, the better FSD becomes. Not to mention they have semi-trucks. They have solar panels and solar roofs that they offer. They offer a power wall, which is like a home battery system that stores solar energy. They also have megapacks, which are like large-scale energy storage solutions. It's for like utilities and businesses to kind of like stabilize the grid and obviously store renewable energy. They have the supercharger network, which allows anybody to drive a Tesla from like California to New York, for example. Think of the supercharger network kind of like gas stations minus being able to go in and buy a drink and things like that. Not to mention Tesla has insurance. Everything I just mentioned, they already have. Now let's look at what they're going to be doing. They're going to be dropping an affordable next generation vehicle. Already unveiled a cybercab, a robo-taxi, an automated taxi that drives itself. Not to mention the Tesla network, which allows people that have FSD on their vehicles to use them in ride sharing, kind of like a robo-taxi. And then Optimus, a humanoid robot, which will drastically change the world we live in. This is undoubtedly one of the most innovative companies in the history of the world. And Tim Walz is preying on its downfall, like many Democrats. Tim Walz also doesn't mention the rest of the market is down as well. But let him keep talking his shit. It shows us how pathetic he is, and it will give us something to come back to here in 18 to 24 months. We'll see if he's still looking at his app then, when the price is significantly higher than it currently is. Not to mention Tesla employs around 80,000 Americans. I could make this video so much longer, but I'm not going to. To make it simple, the man is pathetic. His comment is going to age like milk. Now is a great buying opportunity for Tesla, and we will be bringing his comments back out 18 to 24 months from now. It's going to be satisfying to watch Tesla continue to win, knowing they want it to fail.
I'm saying on my phone,
So
I don't know
me,
somebody know
so
this
me
on
and
the
my friend, we were having a conversation about this on WhatsApp, and it's really interesting what he said. It's a great opportunity. Like we were just talking, because I own a Tesla, so I know this product. I know it. I never had so much conviction in a company as I do in Tesla. And we were talking about its full self-driving, and he was just saying how, FSD, we call it FSD, full self-driving, really does feel like a future, tech prematurely released in its current time. It's so amazing. He says it reminds him of the revolutionary futuristic touch of an iPhone 4 that came out, and everybody was still using flip phones. And that is a really important analogy because, I was telling him, oh my God, I have the full self-driving. I drive it all the time, and I really feel like nobody knows what this is. It's like everybody's got a flip phone, and I've got an iPhone, and I've been playing around with it for months. And when people actually start catching on, when more and more people actually start using it as I'm using it, I just know it's gonna be it's gonna be like the iPhone. And we were just talking about that, and I said, look at what happened at that time. It's crazy. Look what happened with Apple stock at that time in 2007 and what happened afterwards. And then I show him, so I pulled up a chart for him, and I show him, back in 2007, this is what happened. This is a monthly chart. So 2007, 2008, Apple runs up, and then it goes up to 611, and then it pulls back because of the financial crisis. It pulls back to 235. And then I said to him, look at what happened. What if you bought it at the very high? What if you bought it at 611? Even if you bought it at 611, I said, Apple price right now, I showed him what it was. Right now, it's like 215, I think. And so it's, let me just show you, it's 215. And it's 35 times the price it was at 611. And we were talking about that means if you invested like 10,000, it would be worth 350,000. If you invested 100,000, it would be worth 3.5 million right now. And that's if you bought it at the highest price. So, I tell them, a person who just invests 15% or 25% or 20% of, let's say, their available capital that they have just for fun, and see what happens. So anyway, I go through that scenario with him, basically saying, right here, you bought it at the high, and it comes down, it goes up, and eventually what it does is it goes, I'll show you what happens. So you see these two dots on this chart? Everything looks, when it goes up to 611, it falls down to 235. That is a big drawdown. That is a big drawdown, right? So what happens is that is a big drawdown. That is 61% loss. So that means if you had 100,000 when you bought at 611, you would have had to go through during the financial crisis. You would have had a 61% loss, which means that you would only have 38,000 of your original $100,000. Your stock would now be worth $38,000 at that time at the low. So there is a risk that when you go through that scenario. And so I was showing him that if you bought here and when it was at this point right there, your $100,000 was now worth $38,000, and that would have been hard for you to go through. But that was a financial crisis, and I bring this up because there are always risks when we do something. And when I show you what's going on with Tesla today, and it's already down 50%, why it's like down here. So what happened afterward? Let's take a look. So those two, you see those two dots on these two lines on this chart? $6 and 235. Look what happens. That's these two dots over here. So, it goes down to 625, breaks out, and starts moving up, moving up, moving up. Right now it's 215. That means that your money is worth 35 times whatever you had invested at that time. So this is Apple, and this is because it had that iPhone, because it had that product that was just so much better than the flip phones. In the same way, there are other stocks that have done this. Amazon has had charts like this. Netflix has had charts like this. Google, Tesla has been one of them. And usually when a stock has done it in the past, like, if you look at Apple over here, you could see that Apple did it over here. Then it went down a lot. Then it broke out. And it broke out over here. And that's only when it got to 611. So when it does it in the past, it's likely to do it again. So a stock like Tesla has that characteristic. And I want to show you what's going on with Tesla right now. So here's Tesla. Tesla recently just ran up to 488, and it pulled back to 200. It's pulled back about 55% at the low, and currently it's about 49% right now. Currently, if I take this and move it up right there, it's 49% off its high, which means this is a good opportunity. Why is it a good opportunity? Well, let me show you. Give me a second. Now, in my opinion, Tesla is down because of short-term, temporary, bad news in the market, bad news on what's going on. But I see this as a totally temporary thing. There's nothing wrong with the company. It's all because of the transitory nature. Trump got elected 51 days ago, and Elon Musk has gotten involved with the administration. And this is all new. There's a big change in the market. So what's happened is the market has had a reaction because Elon Musk is involved with Doge, which is cutting inefficiency and waste out of the government. And in effect, he is basically, there's a lot of fraud going on within the government. A lot of politicians are getting rich. A lot of, let's just say a lot of different entities and organizations within the current government was all hidden before, and it's now being exposed, and the funding is getting cut. And all these parties are extremely mad, and they're pushing the left-wing media to attack Elon Musk and try to pull him down and try to pull his company down. And so we have this scenario where you have this drop of 50% of the stock. But here's what Warren Buffett says, for example, in situations like this. I asked Grok for these quotes. It's a good idea to use Grok. I gave him this thing to ask, and Grok gave me these 10 quotes of Warren Buffett. But one of the best ones is down here. Bad news is an investor's best friend. It lets you buy a slice of America's future at marked down discount prices. He sees downturns as golden opportunities. Right here, a market downturn doesn't bother us, he says. It's an opportunity to increase our ownership of great companies with excellent management and at good prices. He views dips as a chance to buy more when what he already likes. And there's another thing here: be fearful when others are greedy, and also be greedy when others are fearful. Now, right now, everybody else is fearful with Tesla. What's going on in the markets is you have this kind of stuff. It's all new. You have Tesla's getting vandalized, Tesla's getting burned, these protest groups that are going out, that are funded by these government activities, that are going out and doing this stuff. But the company is completely solid. This is just temporary. I see this as completely temporary, and in 6 months, the stock will rebound. In 6 months, this won't be too much of an issue. A lot of this bad news is just during a specific time. It goes away. There's other news that are going to come, and all of this will just be shrugged off. But you do have this right now, and so it creates a really good opportunity. So I wanted to share that with you. The reasons why it's down. It's mainly because of Musk's involvement. the newness of the Trump situation, the tariffs that are going on right now. Remember, this is the first 2 months, so there's a lot of uncertainty. But all this is going to stabilize, and I feel. And when you have a golden company like Tesla like this, it really presents a good opportunity. And why? Now, remember I was showing you Apple? I was showing you Apple here. During this opportunity, if you bought at the high at $6.11 and it went up to 215, you would have made 35 times your money. What if you didn't buy at the high? What if you waited till it was 50% down and you bought at half that price? That price is 611, so half of that would be about 305. So what if you bought it down here at like 305, which is kind of where Tesla is? You really took advantage, and then you bought at a cheaper price. Now, I bring up that scenario to my friend in our discussion, and this is what we talk about, here. So I say, what if you bought at a 50% discount and you bought at 305, which means that your current price would, instead of be 35 times your money, you would have made 70 times your money. Yeah, you risked, no doubt. If you put in 100 grand, we just gave an example, like just for easy math, we just use 100. So it could be 10 grand, it could be 5 grand, it could be 100 grand. If somebody's really rich, it could be $1 million that they're putting in. The idea is that you put in a percentage of your capital, and if the worst case scenario happens, you put in like 15% of let's say your amount of capital that you feel comfortable. You put in something that you're not afraid to lose, but you also big enough that if it really does 35 or 70x, it's really going to change your life. It's going to cause you, really life-changing income. So I said, let's just give you the example of 100K, and it goes up to 70K. What that means is that at this current time, you put in 100K, yes, you risk that it could go down to zero. And I say that the risk of that, it does go down to zero, is very, very low, especially with a company like Tesla, who has 35 billion in cash stored in reserves. Like, it is solid. As the guy was in that video was saying, all the different things it has already made. And the products it makes are like world class, way better than everybody else in its sphere. If I own a Tesla, so I know personally, but anybody who has driven a Tesla, who owns Tesla's products, will testify that it's just everything is way better than the competition. And they have full self-driving coming out, and they're going to have robo-taxi coming out in June this year, and that's going to start off in Austin and then California, and then eventually roll out to all of North America, where people are now paying robo-taxis, and Tesla's going to be doing it way cheaper than Uber and way cheaper than anybody else because they don't have to pay a driver. So there's robots which are coming out that he's building, and it's just anybody who wants I'm not going to go into why Tesla's so good. Anybody who wants to do research on that should definitely do it, and I recommend you to go here. Go to Brighter with Herbert to watch this guy. This guy here has all the videos on Tesla here, and you should research with him. This guy that you just saw, that face, Cern Basher, he's a really guy. Listen to his videos. This guy is the best. Like this Jeff Lutz is I listen to everything Jeff says. He's like a supply chain guru, and he knows everything. When you listen to him, it just builds your conviction in Tesla. Kathy Wood is good. Dan Ives is a investor, fund manager. Like this guy has just a wealth of information on Tesla, and so he's a really good guy to get information from if you want to do your own research about the company. But coming back to this, so just a little bit of math. If you would have bought Apple, let's just use $100,000. You could change this value to 10,000 if you want. Doesn't matter. I want to show you percentages. It went up to 611. You bought it at the high. It went down, to 225 during the 2008 financial crisis when all that happened. You would have saw it go down 63%. So you would have had to wait and see your money go down as low as 36,000, and within 2 years it was back up to 611. Okay, and then subsequently it went up to 215, which is 35 times your money, which would be worth 3,500,000 for that much risk. If you had $10,000, you just put it in here, and it would have been worth 351,000 today. So even like 10,000 is not that much. It depends on where you're at. If 100,000 is not that much for you, you know, that would have been 3.5 million today. Okay, so this is why it's important to see this, because I want to show you how that works out with Tesla. Now, that's if he bought it at 6. Now, what if it's like the situation we have right now where Tesla has already pulled back 50% and you buy it at that price? Man, that would have been a good price, because you would have been buying at 50% discount, and you know the maximum the lowest price it went down is 225. So you would have only, you know, you would only had a 26% loss at that point if you bought it at 306 and it went down to 225. It's still hard, no doubt, stressful. You know, you have 100,000, it's now worth 73,000, but that would have only taken a few months. You know, if you look at the chart of Apple, not this one, the other one. You know, you look here, you would have bought like bought over here. Each of these bars is a month. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 months, it's back up. It's back up to your price at 305. And then it just starts going up. It makes a new high, and it's never ever coming down here again. So it's all profit after that. And that's kind of the situation we're at with Tesla, where it's already pulled back to 50%. Could it still go down another 50% down here? With Tesla, it's possible. That's why my advice is this. Personally, I'm already invested in Tesla, so I want to share with you my plan. My plan is this. Personally, I'm already invested, so my plan is I will only buy shares more if it goes down below 200. I'm going to buy another, let's just say whatever money you have to invest. Let's just say you have 10 grand or 100 grand you want to invest. You're willing to risk. And I would recommend risking maybe 20% of your overall capital that you have. If you have a very high conviction like I do, I wouldn't mind risking, if I have a net worth, I don't mind risking 10% of my net worth on this. Because if it goes down to 0, which I believe is like 2% chance of happening, like very, very, very unlikely, then I'll only lose 10%. It's not a big deal, you know. But if it goes, there's such a high risk reward, you know, even if it just goes up, if I buy from 50%, if it just goes back up over here, which it has a very high likelihood of doing, I would say 80% chance likelihood, then I am already doubled my money, you know. And with time, Tesla has done this. You know, remember these two. This is how it was back then. Let me show you. You had a similar situation just in 2019. Tesla pulled back 50%, 55%. Anybody who bought at the 50%, you know, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, I think, to get back up to the high. So don't think it's unthinkable, especially when you have situations like we have now where it's just all, there's nothing wrong with the company. It's just news out there that's creating this fear, which is the best kind of scenario you want. There's nothing wrong with the company's solid, the company's great, but it's creating this fear, and it's creating such a good buying opportunity for an investor who was going to take advantage of a long-term huge benefit. So buying down here would have been ideal. Then Tesla, you know, ends up going, let's say you bought it down here, even if you bought it at the high of $25.97, it eventually went up. So its current price, it went up 1,496%. And if you would have bought that not there, but if you would have bought that down here, it would have gone up 3,250%. So where it's at right now, and that's only 5 years away. I'll show you that. You know, here's Tesla. Like what I showed you looked really big over there, right? But with a company like this, like it looks like, oh, the bars are so big, will it ever get there? But it can just make this all, it can just really start going up. And I want to show you just bar by bar. Look at this. All of a sudden, you know, you've more than, here, let's say you bought down here, you've doubled your money. Here you've like tripled, quadrupled in just 5-6 months sometimes with these great companies. You know? And it goes up, it goes up. Look at this. You're probably like 10, 20. You know, you're really have a lot. And then this is just 2020, and then the pandemic hits. So it goes up. That's the pandemic, I think. Tesla goes up to 415, right? That is a huge increase. Now I want to show you that. So that's the kind of scenario we have now. If you look at what's going on, we have that kind of similar opportunity where it's gone up really strongly, it's pulled back, then it takes a year or two and it goes back up to new highs. And then because of this stuff with Trump and with the activists and everybody hates Elon, which is all gonna, it doesn't really matter long term, this stuff. This is all just in the last 2 months. Creates short-term noise, creates a really good buying opportunity. Now, my plan, buy here, buy at 200, buy more at 150, buy more at 100, and that's it. And I'm gonna buy, if it ever went down to 100, because I bought 200 and 150, my average, 150 and 100, my average would be 150. So now I'm only gonna do that because I already have shares in Tesla and I'm comfortable with what I have. So it may never go down to 200. It may start reversing right now. So somebody who doesn't have any shares in Tesla might not be a bad idea to buy right now. I would, if I didn't have any shares, I'd buy something personally. But because I'm satisfied with what I've got, I don't need to get greedy, and I will only buy more if it really starts offering even better prices to me. Prices that I know that the lower you buy, you know, that 35x turns into like 70x or 80x your money. So that's my plan. Buy here, and I believe that there's an 80% chance it's going to go up to a new high. 80% chance for me, so that you can double your money. So I have my probabilities. I think I mentioned it here. I'm not sure with him, but I did mention to a friend that I think to another friend, I mentioned that there's an 80% chance that I'll double my money. I think there's a 50% chance you could triple your money. There's a 33% chance for me that I'll 5 times my money. And I believe that there's a 20% chance that I'll 10x it. You know, and I believe that it could even 20x to 100x. Just like Apple or Google or Amazon, I think Tesla has the chance to do this. It doesn't have to do all that, but 80% chance I'll double my money. And do I believe it'll go down to 0? I believe like there's like, what do I say? I don't know, a 3% chance that it'll go down to 0. I really don't think. I have so much confidence in Tesla that, yeah, I see that. I only lose that much. So you only lose 10% or 15% of your money, but if it goes down to 0, a 3% chance of that happening, and there's a 80% chance of you doubling your money, probably within 1-2 years. That's a really good reward to risk scenario. So that's the plan. That's my plan. I want to show you if today's scenario, the high was 488. If you bought it at today, that's a 50% discount off that price. You know, if you bought it at that price, and let's say it goes back to the high, you've doubled your money, right? And if you did that in 2 years, you got a 40% return. That's a compound annual growth return. If you bought it at 249 and it goes up to 1,000, which I believe, you know, that's a 4 times return. I believe that's like a 50-60% chance that it's going to do that with my conviction in Tesla over the years. Just remember this scenario. This is a company that does stuff like this. You know, it does stuff like this. It jumps, it pauses, it jumps, it pauses, and then it just jumps again. You know, it jumps, and then this is like a 10x. It goes from 25 to 300. Like that's like a 10x, and more than 10x, and then it goes to 400. So from 25 to 400 is like 15x, and it does that within a few years. So Tesla has this characteristic. So it's gonna, in my opinion, it's probably gonna do that again. It's taken enough time. It's pulling back. It's offering a great opportunity, and one can buy it. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Am I missing anything? Give me a sec. So just my plan is simply, if it goes to 200, if it dips to 200, it may not go to 150 or 100, but if it dips to 200, I'm going to put a third. Let's say I want to buy $100,000 worth of stocks at all these prices. I'll divide that in three. So a third of that I'll buy at 200. And if it goes down to 150, I'll put another third on. If it goes down to another 150, I'll put another 100 a third on. So that's maximum I'm willing to lose. That gives me an average price of 150. And so that's what it would look like. And if it went to 1,000, that would have, even if it goes down to, forget 1,000, even if it just goes up to the old high, that would have given me triple back my money. That can happen, and that can happen in very quickly. 1 year, 2 years. 2 years, that's an 80% return in 2 years. If it goes down to 200, it's probably not going to go down to 150. It may go down to 200. I'll buy that 1/3, and then it starts going up from there. In that case, at least I'll have bought some. And that 200, if it goes back to the high, I've made 2.4 times the money. If it goes to 1,000, that to the new high, it's an 80% likelihood for me. If it goes down to 1,000, that's like a 50% likelihood. Let me just put 1,000 here, see what that would look like. That would be 5 times my investment I'm making. So you're making a 400% gain, and per year, I think it would go up to 1,000 in 5 years. And it's maybe a 60% likelihood of that. That you could 5 times your money, 50, 60%. There is also a likelihood that, you remember, Tesla, it went from 25 to like 400. So it could easily go from the old high from 488 to like 4,000, 5,000, So let's just say it goes to 2,500. Then you've 12 times your money there. And for the portion you might have bought at 150, if it went down, it was like that's 16 times your money. So, your 33,000 would turn into 416,000. So you could just play around with figures like that. It's possible that it goes to 5,000, which is like 25 times your money. With Tesla, this is not, that might take 10 years. That might take 10 years for it to go to 5,000. And that would be a 38% return every year, like a compound annual return. But your 33,000 would turn into 833,000. So it's fun to play with these numbers, but I see that, there's a very, very high likelihood you're going to at least double your money. And if you did that, once again, you're getting an average price, 2.4, you can average price of 3.3 times your money if it went down all the way to 100. And so your $100,000 turns into $325,000. And that could happen in a short time because it just needs to get back to the new high, within 2 years. So that is my scenario for Tesla. That is my what I'm going to do. If I didn't have any money in Tesla, I might risk, 5%, 10% of what you have available and buy just whatever you're not afraid to lose. And buy whatever it is at this point, because you're still at a 50% discount from the high. And just let a scenario like this happen where it starts, just give it some time, give it 5 years. And I think you'll be very, very happy in 5 years. At least that's my opinion. Again, I would say do your own research. What I feel about the company is this. So if you want to get more information, I would listen to this video. It just came out yesterday. Tesla did this all hands video where Elon just talks about the company for about an hour and its mission,
to
what
sustainable
it's doing,
energy.
its products, and
It's about as good as it gets,
Q&A,
especially.
and it's just a really good video where you'll get a lot of information and what he predicts about the robots and what's going to happen with Tesla. He thinks it's going to be the most valuable company in the world. So it'll build your conviction. And that's what you need. If you're going to make an investment like this, it's very easy to hold when you have such strong conviction. I own a Tesla. I see their products. It's like you have Netflix. You know how good it is. Like you have an iPhone. everybody else has a flip phone. You've been playing around with it for like a year. Everybody else in the world still has a flip phone. That's what I feel about full self-driving. I literally get in the car and it drives me around like a chauffeur. And once people actually start to experience this, they won't want to go back. It'll be like my girlfriend, she used to tell me, Marjana, she used to say, I love my BlackBerry. I said, no, you got to get this new phone, right? So I love my BlackBerry. She would play with her BlackBerry. And then one day she got a new phone like I did. We both got the same phone. And within a month, I didn't hear anything about her BlackBerry. Like her BlackBerry was in some corner. She would never touch her BlackBerry anymore. In the same way, when people experience what I'm experiencing with the Tesla car, and that's just the beginning, you know. It's just crazy when people start experiencing themselves being driven all over the place, and they can just sit and relax, and it removes all the driver fatigue. You won't wanna not have that anymore. So watch in a few years. Just watch what happens. All right, that's my sharing for what I'm doing. If it's helpful, do your research, and hopefully you can take some of that and maybe it'll benefit you. All the best.